Imagine coming home and discovering that the two people you trusted most had betrayed you together, your wife and your best friend. Then imagine hearing them laugh about it and say that you deserved it. Most people would explode with anger. I did something they never expected. I packed one bag, walked out without saying a single word, and disappeared from their lives. For an entire year, they had no idea where I was or what I had become. Then one night, my phone rang. It was my wife. She was crying and begging me to answer, but she had no idea that the man she had betrayed was no longer the same man who had walked out that night. I used to believe that trust was the strongest thing two people could build together. I believed my marriage was built on honesty, loyalty, and years of shared memories. I also believed my best friend would always stand beside me. He had been there during some of the hardest moments of my life. I trusted him around my home, my family, and the woman I loved. Looking back, that trust was exactly what made the betrayal hurt so much. For weeks, I noticed small changes in my wife. She became distant. She started guarding her phone. She would leave the room whenever certain messages arrived. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, she told me I was imagining things. Then one evening, everything changed. I came home earlier than expected. The house was quiet, but something immediately felt wrong. I walked toward the living room and heard voices. One of them belonged to my wife. The other belonged to the person I trusted like a brother. I stopped before they noticed me. What I heard destroyed everything I thought I knew. They had been seeing each other behind my back. At first, I could not move. My mind kept searching for another explanation. I wanted to believe there had been some misunderstanding. Then I heard them talking about me. They were laughing. My wife said I would never have the courage to leave. My best friend laughed and told her that I deserved what happened because I had been too trusting. That sentence broke something inside me. I walked into the room. The laughter stopped. For several seconds, nobody spoke. I looked at my wife. Then I looked at the man I had called my best friend. I expected an apology. Instead, I heard excuses. They tried to explain. They blamed problems in our marriage. They blamed distance. They blamed me for being too busy. But none of those excuses changed the truth. They had made a choice. I did not scream. I did not fight. I did not destroy anything. I simply walked upstairs. I opened a suitcase and packed only what I needed. A few clothes, my documents, my wallet, my phone charger, one photograph that reminded me of who I used to be. My wife stood in the doorway watching me. She asked where I was going. I looked at her and said nothing. Then I walked outside. That night, I drove away without knowing exactly where I would end up. The first few weeks were difficult. I stayed away from everyone who knew what had happened. I changed my number. I found a small place to live and started rebuilding my life from the ground up. At first, I wanted revenge. Then I realized something. Revenge would keep me connected to the people who had already taken enough from me. So instead of trying to hurt them, I decided to rebuild myself. I focused on work. I started exercising. I learned new skills. I saved money. I traveled. Most importantly, I learned how to live without needing anyone else to tell me that I was valuable. Months passed. Then a year passed. The man who had walked out of that house with one bag was gone. One evening, my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. I answered. It was my wife. Her voice was shaking. She crying. She told me that everything had fallen apart. She said the relationship with my former best friend had not become the perfect life they imagined. The trust between them disappeared. Arguments replaced the excitement. The person she once chose over me was no longer the person she believed he was. Then she said something I never expected. She told me she missed me. For a moment, I remembered the person I had been before that night, but I also remembered the laughter. I remembered standing outside that house with one bag, and I understood something important. Sometimes walking away is not losing. Sometimes walking away is the first step toward finding yourself again. I could have spent the rest of my life trying to make them regret what they did. Instead, I decided to become someone who no longer needed their regret. When my wife asked if I could ever come back, I gave her the answer she never expected. I told her that I had forgiven myself for trusting the wrong people. But forgiveness did not mean returning to the same place that broke me. That night I ended the call and put my phone down. For the first time in years, I felt completely free. The greatest revenge was not watching them suffer. The greatest revenge was becoming happy without them.